Welcome to Investing on a Dollar. I'm your host, Barry. We'll get this started today with computer security. I guess the thing is, this is the most important thing I started out with my crypto journey and my investment journey. Overall investments whatsoever, doesn't matter. I'd like to say that you have to be secure. When involving your money, the last thing you want to do is use a compromised computer. Now, they may or may not have, when hackers look at your computer, they look to see if there's something worth taking. If you never had anything worth taking, they probably didn't take anything. They probably took some pictures, some photos, some logins, messed up your login. You probably had no clue and they left. Best hackers leave no trace. So let's go ahead and secure your computer or whatever device you're using to get inside. Now, this could cover a cell phone. This could cover a laptop. This could cover your personal computer. This could even cover your work computer. These all meet the criteria where you check your finances out at and your investments at. You're going to want to do the minimum of these things, okay? And you're going to at least want to know how they operate. And if nothing else, run through the checklist that I give you. All right, let's get going. First thing I like to say, why are we doing this? Well, your money's there. Need I really say more? If your money's there, you want to make sure it's secure. Last thing you want to do is somebody take your $10,000. It doesn't matter what it is. It can be $100. It doesn't be $5. You just don't want nobody taking it. So let's just go through these, and you know what? They're real simple steps. They're real easy to do. Most of them are right click and just hit start. For the most part, everything has a GUI, which is a graphic user interface. So this will help you out really easy. Next thing, hackers love money. So if you have pictures on your computer and it wasn't worth looking at, they probably left it and moved on to the next one. They do try to get low hanging fruit, which in other words, something that's worth taking. So if there's nothing worth taking, they'll just move on. So they love money, but when they see money, that's it. That's a target. And the other things, they love easy targets. So if your next door neighbor across the street and you got your Wi-Fi on your apartment complex, this is something you just might want to have anyway to begin with. So there you go. Another thing is, I don't like hackers. I just don't like them. They keep me employed because that's what I do for work in IT. Is I do some security, and guess what? It's a full-time job. There's no way you could let this slide if you're in an enterprise environment. So I just like to say, hey, I just don't like them, and you want to make sure you keep them out. Maybe I guess you can strike out number 4 because that's why we're doing it. I want to make sure I'm secure. Therefore, you will be secure. Next, let's go through the steps. I'd say the first thing we can do is Windows updates. Oh man, I can't tell you how many times people have got prevented from being hacked by just doing the Windows updates. Next time you see that thing go, it comes up and it says, do you want to install Windows Update? And it's in the middle of your report. I get it. Let it go. But as soon as you go to bed at night, you hit update and restart or shut down. Let it do its thing. Most of the times, they're all automated now. Since Windows XP, they've been automated. Well, if you're running Windows XP, you're just asking to be broken into. But they're automated. So there's no reason to not update it. All right. Next thing is make sure you have some virus protection. Get the free ones. AVG, Kaspersky. I don't know what's free. You just Google it. Get the free ones. They're mostly reputable. Google for 2017 top best virus protection. Boom, there you go. Just choose one. Yeah, they're going to ask for your email and you don't like it. They probably spam the crap out of you, but they're going to be protecting you from some other stuff. Malware protection. Is virus protection and malware protection the same? No. Okay, it's not. But I guess it could be considered. Yes, I guess it could be, but no, it's not. Let's just go ahead and let's run 2 and I'll explain to you why later on. But Windows comes with it on malware protection, virus protection on Windows 10. Let it run, update it, let it scan, and most of all, scan. That's the most thing I could tell you is let it scan. The other thing is to keep your passwords safe. Don't keep passwords on the same computer you're trying to access your websites on. I don't care if you put them on a sticky and they're in your house. Keep them somewhere you know that you can keep them away from the computer. So if your computer does get taken, stolen, dropped, broken, you have another means of getting it taken. And don't try to be a smarty pants and put it on the cloud. And that's on your computer. That's still the same thing, okay? Or you put it on your phone and you got the phone in your hand. No, don't do that either. It's just, again, asking for it to be taken is asking for it to be hacked. You just made one step easier for me to get into your stuff if that's what I was doing, okay? And you have valid programs. In other words, torrent is out. I get it. But if you torrent your Windows operating system and that's what you're using right now, you probably can be hacked. You're probably just looking at your computer right now and you have no clue. If you get some glitches, you get some bumps and some burps, and you have no idea why, and nobody can explain why, it's probably because they're looking at your stuff on your screen right now. So, yeah, get a valid copy of stuff. I know some pricey options for Windows and a Mac. Get the cheap one. Get to choose the cheaper option. Who cares? Choose a cheaper option. This is one for your investments. Go for it. If it's one for your house, you're just running games on it, you really don't care. All right, I get that. But try not to have the same computer for the same thing. Get a cheap one. Who cares? Get a Chromebook. Get something that's really simplistic and put out of the way. And if you got a Mac and you have to do the update, just do it. Just do it. It's worth it. All right, next thing I'm going to talk about is Windows updates. And I'll tell you a little story about this. I'm having an Equifax thing that just came around, 140 million accounts broken into. Well, it could have been prevented. 6 months prior to that, they knew that there was something going wrong with the systems. They knew they needed updating. They just didn't do it. Guess what? They should have. It would have prevented all the mess that they got themselves into. CEOs dropping the stock before the company went out and things like that. It's totally avoidable. So guess what? Let's avoid it. Let the Windows update finish. And usually you see the symptoms before they get started. That's the one thing I can tell you. You usually see the symptoms before. You know, those glitches. The words, when y'all call glitches, people who are professionals in the IT don't call it glitches. It's a bug. It's a feature. It's a feature. Hey, we meant to do that. Or it's a straight bug. And if it's a bug, it's bad. Bugs are just bad in general. So if you see the screen beep when it shouldn't have beeped, or you're just sitting there, you see something, a cursor move or things like that, you know you have something. And again, just don't stop it from running. It's a Windows update. Let it update. Virus protection. Yeah, something will happen bad one day if you don't have it. And it'll probably be something that you inadvertently didn't mean to do, or something that was meant to be sent to you. Heck, some viruses are not to be detected. The best viruses are undetected. That's the best virus. A virus protection knows. So you need to have that on prior to navigating to sites that are involving your investments. You see, that's what we're doing prior to it. Update it, run it. And you know what? Why? Because we love clickbait. Okay, so clickbait is, those little cats that pop up, and the dogs, and the cards that you get, the e-cards that don't come from the reputable e-cards. Well, guess what? They can have embedded executable files that just take over your computer. So just make sure you have a virus protection that can detect that before you will. Other thing is malware protection. Everything has an email, and most likely when you open it, it's your fault. You have one of those uncles or those grandpas that forward you things that's been forwarded 10 times. Nobody checked them out. Guess what? They probably all got hacked. Let's keep it down. Let's update it. And when you're done update it again. And when you're done, run it twice. I had a story where we paid $1,000 for this big product, and it didn't catch this virus. We knew that it was prevalent on the computer. And we downloaded something, put it on a thumb drive, updated it on the thumb drive and plugged it in, and it wiped it out. It may be that particular program didn't get the update quick enough to detect the virus. And by the time they give it to you, you've got the virus. So see, it's worth having multiple programs running. Now, long as they don't cross talk, or they don't cross communicate, or one doesn't shut down the other, I've seen that as well, then you're going to have a problem. But again, you don't want to run two virus protections at the same time. You run around a malware and a virus protection, or a Windows update and that. Usually Windows update has its own malware. And if you run a virus, it'll say, hey, you're running a virus protection. Do you want me to turn me off? Just say yeah. Or you can say no at that point. So it doesn't matter. Again, one more thing. We want to talk about the valid programs. You download it from Torrent, pay for something if you're going to use this for your main source of income and investments as we go through these programs. Just be careful where you get them from. CNET has some free ones. There's some other sources, but again, they check their uploaders. but there's other places that do it, and it only takes one to slip through, and you don't want to be that person. So one more time, Windows is expensive, but it's a lot cheaper than it would be if you had some investments going through and got them wiped out. Mac is even more expensive than Windows, but the one more thing I can say is about that is Mac has virus vulnerabilities as well. The difference is that it doesn't have a big footprint, so a lot of people just don't see it, so they don't attack it. And options for them are just pricey in general. All right, hey, I think that's it for our first one. Let's just go back to the front here, and I thank you for looking at Invest on a Dollar. We talked about computer security. I try to keep it simple as possible. This is for the working person, and I know how it is. The last thing you need to watch is a 45-minute video on how to protect your computer. Well, I already know how to do it. Well, a little bit of knowledge is okay. Medium knowledge where you know just enough to get yourself in trouble, that's horrible. So all I'm going to say is that do the basics. Let's get to the basics and clean it up before we get started. All right. Bye.